I think we're at a critical time in American culture, not just because we need to understand culture better, but because we're so convinced that we know, and we're so convinced that we know that we're taking to the streets and we're protesting, we're angry, and so there's something in this moment where we're riled up enough to take to the streets, but we don't really understand enough to really have good dialogue. And I think people in the theology and culture degree, whether they're thinking about being social entrepreneurs or being artists or being theologians out in the world, I think that this is a really critical moment for us to think well about what culture actually is, and to think about not just the church's role, but how do we think more broadly theologically about how we are as a culture? What does it mean, how we understand race and ethnicity? How do we understand how we are together in communities? I feel like the United States is desperate for people who think well about these issues, and especially artists. Artists give us new language in the midst of that. The uniqueness of what we offer at the Seattle School for Theology and Culture is in some ways the combination of what we explore. God, self, and neighbor, I think, is a really good way of thinking through how different parts of our curriculum develop the person or the student who comes here. You can't get away without doing some sort of work about what does it mean for you as a person to even have desires towards certain kinds of work or have desires towards certain kinds of conversations or vocations. But you also, and I think this is very true, especially for the theology and culture students, you think a lot about then the ramifications of you, who you are in your own body and how you interact with the world. What is your impact on the world? How do you have relationships? What does community actually look like? And then to have the intellectual development that goes along with that. How do you think theologically well about all the complexity of what our world is right now?